Aviravir Vedasya ma'ani sthaha Shrutam me ma prahasihi Anena dhitena horatran samdadhami Ritam vadishyami Satyam vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tudvaktaramavatu Avatu mam Avatu vaktaram Avatu vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we have another hymn of Parashara Shakti, 170. We went through 2 verses last time. Vanema purvi hariyo manisha agnih sushoko vishvanyashyah adaiviyani vratachikitvan amanushasya janasya janma. May we conquer the many fulfilling things of the Spirit and the Lord, the high ideas. May Agni, flaming perfect, reach to them all. He who sees all divine laws and the birth of every mental creature. May we win the many reaches. May the fire flaming high with his light master by the thinking mind take possession of all things that are. He who knows the laws of the divine workings and knows the birth of the human being. So, the next one. Garbho yo apam garbho vananam garbhashchastatam garbhascharatham adrauchidasma antardurone vishamna vishabo amritah swadhi. He is the child of the waters, the child of the forests, the child of things stable and child of things that move. Even in the stone, he is there for man. He is there in the middle of his house. He is as one universal in creatures. He is the immortal, the perfect thinker. What is interesting here is this distribution of what he is. He is the child of the waters and of the forest and of stable things and that moves. And even in the stone, he is for man. So from the very beginning of evolution, yes, he is there for man, for the higher consciousness to reveal itself in nature. He is in the middle of his house. That means he is in antariksha, within his heart. So he is in his body, in the stone. He is in the antariksha, in the heart, and he is as one universal in all the creatures. So he is in the higher spiritual place or realm. So he is in 3 realms, in the physical, vital, and mental bodies. He is the immortal, because he is the immortal in all these 3 domains. The perfect thinker, Swadhi, or the one who is perfectly holding everything, or holding on to everything. And these ideas later will be developed in the post-Vedic vision as Atman. We don't have Atman, concept of Atman in the Rig Veda yet. It's a later development. The self. So the self is present on all the levels, on the physical as Annamaya Purusha or Annamaya Mahatma. Yeah, it is Annamaya Atma. It is the Atma, self made out of matter, or Purusha, the consciousness made out of matter. The same Purusha is Pranamaya Atma, or Purusha. The Purusha made out of prana, but the same Purusha. So it is this Agni in the Veda, as you see. Yes? He is in the stone for man, he is in the middle region for man, and he is in the higher universal consciousness also for his development. So this Purusha on 3 levels is him, because he is immortal. Sahi Kshapavan Agni Rayinam Dashadyo Asma Aram Suktaihi Eta Chikitvah Bhuma Nipahi Devanam Janma Martashcharidvan. He is indeed the master of nights. Or the Lord of Nights. The fire is the master of the nights. He gives of the riches to him who prepares for him the sacrifice with the perfect words. O thou who art conscious, guard as the knower these worlds and the birth of the gods and mortal man. So he is responsible for the birth of gods and mortal man. He is indeed the master of nights, the possessor of nights, the one who drives, who sustains maybe even nights. Flame of the riches should give to the one who prepared the sacrifice by hymns. A conscious one who knows protect all these worlds by filling them. O conscious one who knows protect all these worlds by filling them with your presence, the birth of gods and mortals. So basically it is that presence of Agni in gods and mortals which makes them gods and mortals, suitable for this work which he is doing. Gods and mortals are only his tools or expressions or instruments. And that is also a very deeply and truly Vedic vision. We will see hymns to Agni where he is identified with all the gods. It will be said that, O Agni, you are Mitra and Varuna, you are Rudra and Vishnu, you are Ashwins and Dawn and the sun, and all the gods will be identified with him, because these gods are nothing but faculties of his working. These are the names of his actions. So the gods are the names of that action of the Lord, and they are doing that work because that name reveals what they are doing, their functions. They have simply functions, adjectives, if you will. Adjectives to one Lord, who is doing many things.
So Vladimir, in that sense, by extension, are you saying that we humans are also adjectival, that we are an extension?
Exactly. We are all adjectives to this one true reality, and we are fulfilling different functions for this to manifest to manifest him in all his infinite varieties. Yes. Yeah. And you will see that in Sanskrit language, and we study Sanskrit, you will see very soon that there is very little difference between adjectives and nouns. You will also sense that nouns are nothing but adjectives, you know. They are describing one reality in a particular function or faculty.
This reminds me of when I was first exposed to understanding that the name given to something or someone indicates their essence, or in what you're describing is not their essence but their function.
Correct, but that is the essential characteristic which has to be manifested from this infinite being, which is not different, which is undifferentiated. But now, with the consciousness, which works upon it, it will be differentiated in certain faculties, in certain qualities. So they will be spelled out. And that spelling out of the qualities hidden within one undifferentiated being is manifestation of the divine existence by the divine consciousness. So what we see here is nothing but that manifestation of that infinite being, yeah, in terms of adjectives, yeah, descriptions of him and his relations to himself. This is the profound philosophy which is visible in the Rig Veda very well if we read deeply. Yes? If we read and we identify these gods as different and fighting and so on, then we would not be able to see it.
Mm-hmm. Vladimir, when you say the word faculties, it goes back to a previous teaching you had of our senses. And my mind was going to, when you said that these are the faculties of, I guess, of God. And so in that purpose, we are either being consumed by his faculties, or where do we meet that and not be consumed, but experience that which is being consumed, which is us, through his faculties?
Well, we are shifting to the different paradigm of which is faculties as we have the senses or the indriyas as faculties of one consciousness, faculties of consciousness as we deal with them in the integral paradigm, which is more Upanishadic paradigm. Now, the Vedic paradigm of knowledge is a bit different than Upanishadic. It is, when I speak about faculties here, it is well, it is somehow connected to that Upanishadic, but in a different way. Here they are more universal faculties, if you will. Yeah? There in the Upanishads, they are more related to our individual perception and consciousness. So we speak about sight, hearing. We are kind of conceptualizing faculties and in terms of our individual perception and consciousness. Yeah? Here they are not yet focused on individuals. They are still cosmic faculties, yeah? Mm-hmm. And there are many more of them because of that. So to say, because the cosmos has to function through these faculties, so we give to them different names. Indra, for example. Indra is the lord of the divine mind who is acting upon this lower hemisphere with a higher light, which he gets from the sun, and he transmits this supramental light into our lower hemisphere and changes the substance of our existence here. So to say, the transformative process is taking place by his action. Now, that all described by one word, Indra. Yeah? Mm-hmm. That particular faculty. So rishis do not deal with sight, hearing as abstract or, how to say, more concrete individual faculties. They deal with the universal activities which are applied applicable to all of us. And not only human beings, but also animals and plants and minerals and planets and galaxies and worlds at large. So, and beyond, most probably.
Very good. Thank you.
But how to connect the two? Of course, Indra, as the lord of the mind, will have that faculty of the mind later in the Upanishads. When we speak about the faculty of the mind, it will include Indra also and other godheads, which are here kind of getting their own, how to say, dimensions or their own particularities because of their cosmic work. So maybe the whole group of the gods could be identified with one movement of the mind in the individual perception. Yeah? And all of them will be influencing the workings of the mind in us in different ways. Indra will be more intuitive, that flash from above, that intuition which is coming from beyond. And that is also mind, yeah? But it is not the whole thing. Ashvins are also mind at the same time, and Vayu is more sense mind, more pranic mind, yeah, emotional mind, and so on and so forth. So all of them will be playing the role of the mind, which is now conceptualized as a separate faculty, which we can identify because we focus consciousness already on individual perception. We cut off from the universal vision of what is happening in the universe. We are no more open to the universe. We are imprisoned. We are narrowed down to our individual state of being.
Thank you.
Vladimir, I had a question about the first verse, if you don't mind going back to it for a second.
Sure.
I remember you were talking about the middle of the house as a phrase from a previous, I think it was Parasha, one, I forget which one, and 160 something. And I remember you were mulling aloud as much to yourself as to us as to what it may mean. And here you were, let's see if I can find it.
You want 69 or something?
No, it was what you just read. I think it was here, in the middle of the house.
Okay, right.
I'm just...
Chikitvan Amanusasya Janasya Janma Sokosha Vishwanya Shia. No, it's not here. It's in the previous one. Oh, it's the next one. Here.
Okay, then I asked you to go back too far.
Here it is, yes.
Middle of the house. And you were referencing this now as related to the intermediate zone, to the atmosphere?
Correct. Or within the body as the soul. Huh?
Okay. That's what I was wondering, if you were also... Well, actually, I'll go off on a tangent. A second ago, you were just mentioning how do we bridge the senses on the cosmic level understanding and the individual. Here you just did it with the image of the middle of the house, didn't you?
In a way, yeah, but it is still cosmic. In a way, he's in the middle of the house. That means in the middle of every house, of every possible embodiment in this universe. He is in the middle. So he has that particular universal function, which we do not have when we come to our mind and our soul as an individual soul. We are immediately cut off from the universe somehow. We change, we kind of fall, a reverse of consciousness. We start looking from the individual point of view. Here the view is elsewhere, as if Rishi is not looking from his own individual perspective, as if he looks from the universal self perspective, something like this.
You know, what caught my attention with this is my frame of reference in my relationship with Amma. And it reminded me, I'm working on an article, and so I have been combing through a number of things I have heard her say and that she's also written about. And there's just two simple sentences that connect for me with what you're saying. Yeah, at first I took her saying this as metaphorical and poetic, and that ended a lot of years ago. I take it literally. She said, "I'm closer to you than you are to your own self." And that definitely reminded me of the middle of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And she also says that Amma has no place to dwell. She dwells in your heart. And so with my participation in the class, that the different hymns you are translating, interpreting, I'm seeing all of these connections with Amma's description of how she views the world and how she views us.
Mm.
And it's just an amazing correspondence that there is no difference. So it's just my frame of reference, so I'm sharing that.
Very wonderful. Of course, she represents that universal presence, and you with your true individual perception, the divine individual spark, would be the closest. You will be closer to her than to yourself, because that yourself, what we consider ourselves, that outer consciousness, is very far away from that divine spark. There is an abyss between that divine spark within us and this surface consciousness, and we cannot bridge it. So in a way, she speaks literally that she is closer to you than you to yourself.
Yes, and it's a real eye-opener to practice what you were just saying, to identify, to try to understand in a concrete way, for me, her way of viewing life, existence, the creation, and all of the creatures. It is a living Rigvedic unfolding that she expresses her experience the way you're describing. And it's a real it's like twisting the mind to play with what is that like, even if I have not personally bridged the gap, just as an intellectual and to some extent a heartfelt exercise of putting ourselves in the place of the Rishi, or for me, in the place of Amma, just to kind of stand behind her to see how she experiences things. It's always from the level that you're describing.
Yeah, it becomes very concrete when you have another system of knowledge or language, which helps to understand what she says, because she will not be explaining it in other forms. She will say it, and that would be already the action of consciousness, which is required for you to really know it. Yeah. And to maybe think for the rest of your life what she meant by it. And that thinking itself is already productive of bridging your outer and inner consciousness. Yeah? So in the process of thinking, you will be building subtly that bridge between inner and outer, and understand more and more about yourself.
And she will at times talk about the creation and all of its creatures being adjectival. And she, through the years, my impression is she's very careful about talking that way because we don't get it. And yet that is part of her experience, that we are part of this unfolding, and we might think we're in charge and so on and so forth. And so anyway, I'll end my little sharing with that it's so enriching to find the correspondence of what you are unfolding for us with Amma and how Amma presents herself.
Yeah, this when you look at this in the adjectival way, it shows that there is a universal consciousness behind. Yeah, because it is only through the eye of the universal consciousness that you can see that everything is adjectival to this reality. Yeah? In
Yes.
the individual perception, you don't see it. Yeah? And also you can figure out through studies of grammar, you can see, oh, look, Satya means true, and Satya means truth. Yeah? Or Shiva means merciful, and also Shiva means God. Yeah? So, but there is always this descriptive reality behind. It describes the reality in a particular faculty, a fashion. It tells you what it does. And what is that, what it does? Who is that who does it, behind it? And that is something which cannot be named. Only his function can be named, or his representative who is doing that can be named. But the one who is behind is nameless.
It's just an amazing vision, which is not just an intellectual exercise. So anyway, it's just incredible.
Right, and it is very fair and logical, and there is it doesn't contradict logic. One can say that it is something beyond our mind can comprehend. No, our mind also can comprehend this. It's very interesting that there is no contradiction with this vision, because it is true as it is.
Yes, and yet obviously we need to reorient how we hear things to consider grasping this vision.
Or maybe I'm too used to it, maybe.
No, not at all. Not at all. I am understanding what you're describing about the logic of it, and I'm contrasting that with, well, as you said, maybe you're so identified with it with clarity, and so many of us are not, and it feels so natural, and yet there is that bridging, as you said. I like that metaphor. There is that bridging to be done because of our over-identification with an individualistic body-mind understanding of life. So I agree with you. It's a marvelous undertaking to build that bridge.
Yeah, and we need to have.
So the rishis, there was no bridge to build. They obviously they got it, and they understand their role, and they're sharing their understanding. It's quite something.
Mother says that rishis are actually. Somebody asked her who are these rishis and why they're speaking this language, and whether they are evolutionary beings as ourselves. Maybe they discovered, as we human beings here discovered some truth. And what does it mean?
What?
Something is happening here. My Zoom is doing today strange things. Yeah, I have it for 1 year till October, and it asks me to upgrade to Pro. I am upgraded to Pro. Anyhow, maybe that's why it didn't connect. I just came from the free. Sorry. I'm just thinking why it didn't connect today. Yes, but
and so the mother was saying, yeah, that maybe they're not evolutionary beings, or that she understood they were not.
They are not evolutionary beings. They are involutionary beings who brought this higher vision. Yes, who have already higher vision and brought it down for us to see. So to say, they are looking with the eyes of this universal being. They are like avatars, family of avatars. These are avatars with the knowledge of the Supreme coming down. and they speak it out for us. And so they create a particular formation within our consciousness, which is corresponding to that task to discover the divine within manifestation. So to say, they embody our group soul decision, as a group soul, that we as a humanity decided once to do. So now they have it in their vision and they bring it down and give us in the form of the Veda. And that creates all kinds of streams of knowledge, into Shastras, into all particularities, into Kavya, into grammar, Jyotisha, and so on and so forth. It manifests in varieties of activities, culture. If you look at the Indian culture, you will see there is no text which does not refer to the Veda. All the time reference to the Veda is a supreme source of knowledge. And there is a reason for it, definitely. There's some kind of, vision or some kind of fundamental knowledge which is creative of many other forms of knowledge in many different streams. It's like the ocean or the source of all water from which all the streams start. So I understand this integral vision of the Veda is so fundamental for understanding Upanishads later, Gita. If we would read Gita now with this view of the Veda, you will see it totally different than we usually used to. So, and Upanishads also are very different with the view of the Veda. All right. I may end now in 10 minutes because this program wants me to stop for some reason. I did something very strange. I signed in not as myself, but through Facebook, and that's what it does. But okay, I will just finish. Sahi kshapavan agni rainam dashadyo asma aram suktaihi eta chikitvo bhuma nipahi devanam janma martasya vidvan. Fire. The fire is a master of the nights. That's what we read already. He gives of the riches to him who prepares for him the sacrifice with the perfect words or perfect hymns. O thou who art conscious, Chikitva, guard us, Pahi, as the knower, Vidvan. These words, Eta Bhuma, and the births of the gods, Devanam Janma, and of mortal men, Martan Shya. So, Master of the Nights, that's also interesting. The Lord of the Nights. Somehow, this is also a very unusual thing, but I understood it only through Sri Aurobindo studies, where Sri Aurobindo says, non-being's night could never have been saved if being had not plunged into the dark. So this non-being's night which appeared could never have been saved, could not be sustained. The night could not be sustained because it is not. It is absence. It is absence of consciousness, and it drags being into the oblivion. So being cannot know itself anymore in the absence of consciousness. And once it is not knowing itself, it falls into oblivion, so to say. But if there would be no plunge of the higher consciousness into the midst of the night, the night could never have been saved. Non-being's night could never have been saved, sustained, if being had not plunged into the dark. That's why he is the Lord of the nights, the Master. He sustains the absence of consciousness by his presence within it. It's a very interesting thing. Otherwise, there would be no night. It would disappear from us. How would we know that night is there if he would not be there within it? Yeah? Mm-hmm. There is no way to know about night. Mm. He is also, he gives the riches, dashat rayinam, of the riches to him who prepares for him the sacrifice. Asma, to him, aram, who makes this preparation or decoration or availability, suktaihi, with self-expressions. So sukta is with perfect self-expressions, he prepares his birth. The self-expression is very important force of Agni, the word. O conscious one, Chikitva, who knows, Vidvan, protect all these worlds, Etabhuma Nipahi, by filling them with your presence. I am adding by filling it with your presence, because root pa is to fill and also to protect. So when you fill something, you protect it. Yeah, it is full of water, so Agni cannot enter. It is full of fire, then nothing can come in. It is full of some presence of some substance, so no other substance can enter. So in that sense, I am adding this by filling them with your presence, the birth of gods and mortals. So once the gods and mortals are filled with his consciousness power, they are totally protected from all the darkness. Yeah? There is no darkness.
Good.
All right, very good. Sorry for this today connection, bad connection, and because of this I signed in the wrong way. I can sign out because it will stop now in a minute. And if I can come in, I will see whether I can sign in into this differently. If not, then it will stop by itself in a minute. It already warned me 10 minutes, it gives me. So first it showed me the 2016, and then somehow there are forces which want us to not come to this kind of sacrifice because it's dangerous for the world, yes, somehow.